Welcome viewers, Dr. JWA, theologist. Australia is irretrievable. And I don't say that lightly. I say that to represent the people that are struggling and suffering as hard as they have tried and are trying. Genuine people that are sincerely trying to make a life for themselves and get ahead are being run into the ground by the greed of this nation. It is out of control. It's on a trajectory toward third world conditions. Now, a lot of people will laugh at that. A lot of people, as I'm getting my emails and stuff in and stuff, will applaud what I just said. Because the people's lives are being, the trajectory of their lives is being changed from Australian dream to Australian nightmare. And a lot of this was preventable. A lot of this didn't need to happen. And this ain't the end, it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Time will tell, but it's not going to get better. And really smart people are leaving Australia to go somewhere else where you don't pay tax on tax on tax, where the government isn't trying to find ways of getting what you make. For instance, Jacinda Allen's work at home, I bet you that guarantee they're going to tax people's homes, property tax for running a business from home. That's what they'll do. It's so well camouflaged and designed. But when working harder, stop producing a better life. Have you ever worked harder than you did 10 years ago, earned more money, and still felt your life was going backwards? You leave home earlier, you return later, you accept overtime, weekend work, longer travel, and the responsibilities that once belonged to two people. Your income appears larger on paper, but less of it survives the week. And at first, you blame yourself. Perhaps you're not disciplined enough. Perhaps you spend too much. Perhaps another qualification, another side job, or another promotion will finally create breathing room. So you push harder. But every improvement is absorbed before you can feel it. A pay rise disappears into rent, mortgage repayments, fuel, electricity, insurance rates, childcare, groceries, and medical costs. The reward for greater effort is not progress. It is the temporary prevention of collapse. The old Australian promise was simple: work hard, remain responsible, and gradually build a better life. A modest home, reliable transport, occasional holiday, time with the family, some savings, a future less difficult than the one behind you, but that never came for this generation. It got harder and harder and harder, and people started to fall off. People were unable to cope anymore. The cost was too much. Parents miss evenings with their children while trying to provide for them. Couples become exhausted financial partners, lose a relationship under the stress. Older workers postpone retirement just to make sure they don't ever lose everything they've worked for thus far. Younger Australians work multiple jobs thinking they're going to get ahead, only to dig a hole so deep for themselves they can't see a way out. and while watching ownership move further and further and further beyond reach. And we're watching it couple of generations back going, they're not going to make it. They're not going to make it. And the tragedy is not that people become unwilling to work. No. It is the work stop carrying them forward. The cost of everything rising at the accelerated rate in which it did left behind the income that was being offered to people to try and survive with. And as the cost of living accelerated beyond the rise in wages, living became more and more difficult, to the point where people were breaking down, crashing and collapsing. But the greed didn't stop. When effort no longer creates improvement, exhaustion becomes more than physical. It becomes existential. People begin questioning whether sacrifice still has meaning. And Australia became irretrievable when its citizens continued giving more of themselves while receiving progressively less in return. And people are waking up to this. People are giving in. They're going, I can't do this anymore. And eventually hard work no longer feels like the road to freedom. It feels like the price of remaining exactly where you are, stuck. That's why, as I speak, Australia is irretrievable, completely and utterly irretrievable. And I need people to comment and back this up, because unless we get awareness of how hard this is and how many people are breaking down, I mean seriously, psychologically breaking down, never to return again. This is therapy for people, because it's meeting them where they're at, down in where they're stuck. This person, this doctor, whoever he is, Ayub, can see what's happening to me. Because we had it hard back in the 80s and 90s and late 90s, before everything got started increasing at a rate that the normal Aussie couldn't keep up with. We had it hard, but we never had it like this. This is abuse. This isn't even impossible. This has become now third world. This is third world impossibilities happening to the middle to lower class Australians. And anybody that wants to ignore it has no authority to speak on it. People are breaking down, people are committing suicide, people are not making it, they don't know which way to turn. They're watching criminals get lots of money and seem to get away with it. They're watching the politicians without any understanding of what's happening to them at all. They make out they have, but they haven't. Because it's them that have caused it. Australia is irretrievable. And you have to accept it so that you can begin to heal. And once you realise it's become impossible for you guys that are middle to lower class, it's become impossible. And when you realise that and come to terms with it and go, I feel this way for a reason, then you can start to get better and say, I've been beaten by the system. I tried and tried and tried, but I was beaten by the system.